tuning in to watch, and yeah, just to see what's up. This is an impromptu video that a few people have been requesting on my Facebook, and basically it started from me getting curious, wanting to come up with a preset for the Behringer Wing. There's been quite a lot of them in Malawi right now, especially for churches, sound companies and whatnot. I use it quite a lot as well. So because of how long it takes for it to be set up before function, I think unlike the X32 where I could just initialize it and start working on it real quick, this takes a bit of work. For example, the buses aren't really set to anything. You don't really have like preset effects like reverbs and delays and stuff like that. You have to kind of just get all those set up and then get going. Also your outputs and so on and so on and so on. Nothing is really set. Your channel inputs, there's only 8 inputs on the console itself, so they don't really have like a local input set up except for the first 8 channels. So stuff like that. So there really isn't much set up for you to do anything unless you come up with a preset so that you can be using that preset to be doing your work. So I borrowed a compact from a church. I don't have my own Behringer Wing. Yes, I borrowed a compact and played around with it, and I discovered so much inside the console. So that said, this console is really great for the price point, to be honest. And the sound of it is actually quite good. It doesn't break apart quickly in terms of... it's hard to explain what that means for me, but when I hear live consoles, I can hear that there's like this break apart sound that you don't get in studio grade equipment, but this doesn't do it so quickly, which is good, and meaning that you can get really good mixes out of it straight out of the box as is right here. Yeah, so the preset itself, I'll just talk a bit about the preset itself. I hope the screen here, you can see what's going on. This is my my buses. This is how I've wired them. Oh, by the way, shout out to Chismo, who got me, I think I put a status out saying that I wish it had like 24 buses instead of 16. Yeah, so he commented that, you know, you can use the matrices as buses as well in a way. Yeah, so the first attempt was to make these my group channels, but it doesn't work because your matrices don't go back into the console. They only go out physically. So then I was like, okay, great. Then I can use these as my stage monitors. So my matrices from 1 through 8 will be stage monitors now. They're off right now because I haven't really sound checked any band yet with this preset. And then the buses, the first 8 will be my effects. So these purple ones will be my effects. Right now, I'm only using up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 effects. There are 4 reverbs, 1 delay. I'll probably make up some more effects later on as I go. And then for the last 8 are my drum, not drums, groups, basically my 3 drum groups. I'll explain why shortly. Main vocal source, instruments, backing vocals, main vocals, vocal source, instruments, and effects. The effects are also just on a group so that in case I go live and I find that the effects that I've put on this preset are too high, I can always turn this down, and then that will give me a different sound generally with less reverbs and delays and stuff like that. Yeah, and then for the channels, obviously, I've just kind of predicted the most typical thing that I go through. I mean, this preset is not end all. There's some things that it probably can't accommodate. But basically, I've got my drum channels, single mic on everything, kick, snare, hats, tom, overhead, percussion. In case I need more channels later on drums, I can always just duplicate and add more channels. But this is my typical encounter on a day-to-day. We don't usually do extremely high-end artists like from the US or Europe or wherever. So most of the time, most people are happy with 1 kick, 1 snare, hat, toms and overheads, and then percussion channels. I also have tracks, This is working as a live mic just for this video, but this is also second tracks, and then there's DJ in case there's a DJ, and the bass, guitar, a spare guitar or anything spare, and the piano. And then to go further, we've got pads, organs, and auxes. All those are auxes anyway, but basically we've got 4 keyboards, that's all I'm saying. But anything peculiar, anything interesting can also go on the auxes. Yeah. And then I've got 3 lead vocals, which sometimes can also be MC, and a bunch of backing vocals. So the backing vocals are just all over the place because sometimes I'd get choirs. For example, Gwamba's band is like a whole choir of 12 mics if he comes out full. So this is to accommodate people like that. Usually I like to set up the preset with what's the most common band that I usually meet that's really large, and then I just set this up for that. Yeah, so it's your very typical live band, semi-live setup, and that's the whole preset itself. And I've discovered so many things working and setting up this preset out of the Behringer Wing itself. I'm really happy to have played around with it for about a week now. Some of the things I'll mention in later, we'll probably make this a 5-piece. So maybe the last piece we'll be talking about the things that I've discovered about the Behringer itself. Yeah, so in this particular video, I want to talk about the drums. But before we go there, maybe we could have like a portion and listen to, shout out to Paul Gajala, who lended me his song. I can't play the whole song because the song is not out, but I can play a portion. I think Paul will be all right with that. I can play a portion and then we can just see how that sounds. And then we can start talking about drums and stuff like that. Yeah, so let's just have a listen and see what it sounds like.
Santa Sofe Penya da Kela Dinu go Tawila O Tawila Kwa O Tawila Kwa Dinu go Tawila Kwa
Part of the track. Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to use Paul's tracks is pretty simple. I tracked this particular recording, but the actual live mixes were done by Dan Viewer. But my main point being that I know what these tracks are like. I know where the problems are. I know why. So when you're making a preset, ideally you need to know what level your sources were like. That way you mix and create a preset that suits that kind of situation. For example, I'm not really happy with the sound of this snare generally, but I am also aware that this particular EQ shape, for me, 80% of the time gets me to a good snare sound and stuff like that. So because I'm aware that the drums could have been better tracked, I'm also aware that this will probably work most of the time. So I'm not too worried about how that snare sounds right now. It doesn't sound too great, but I'm also aware that I can probably mic that snare better and get a better snare sound. Yeah, so yeah, let's talk about the drums. We're not going to play too much of the audio because we're just going to go through this preset and what it has. And that's the main point of this video. Like I said, the track is not out, so I can't really be playing it too much. Yeah, but all the channels have been gained to around, I think, minus 12 dB in Studio One. And that's where I'll be gaining my my preset to when I'm doing the live tracks. I mean the live shows. So I'll be gaining them to around -12 because I know that they're going to suit my gates, they're going to suit my compressors, and so on and so on and so on. By the way, that's really important. If you're going to work from a preset, you have to be very much aware where your gains were when you're setting your preset. If I for example, if I set my my gains up to -6, for example, when I had set my preset on -12, I'll be 6 whole decibels out of whack, and my compressors and everything else are going to be 6 whole decibels out of whack. Yeah, so that's something that you don't really want to come across. So you just have to be really careful of your gain structure when you're coming up with a preset. Yeah, that said, let's look into the kick.